Welcome to this edition of The Hill with April Ryan. There's a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it. President Biden is pledging to deliver federal resources to help in the wake of the catastrophic Singapore cargo ship collision with a 47-year-old Key Bridge in Baltimore Tuesday morning.
I've directed my team to move heaven and earth to reopen the port and rebuild the bridge as soon as humanly possible. And we're going to work hand in hand with the support of Maryland to support Maryland whatever they ask for. We're going to work with our partners in Congress to make sure the state gets the support it needs.
Biden said from the West Wing, the federal government will pay the entire cost of repairing the bridge. The president is also asking the Republican Congress to support it. Baltimore City Council President Nick Mosby welcomes the president's message of support for the bridge and the survival of the port.
I would hope that no one in Congress makes this an ideological, divisive issue, and we understand and know that infrastructure and things like bridges are critically important and essential to the movement of our country.
Federal officials acknowledged that an underwater assessment to begin cleanup is underway. Sybrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin, is teaming up with other families of victims of police brutality. They are pushing for renewed efforts on police reform.
We can't give up trying because we can never forget who we are fighting for and why we are fighting. And so I think it's important that we just keep at it. We can't give up because it wasn't passed the first time or the second time. We got to keep going and keep applying pressure until it gets passed.
Fulton says she is eager to speak with the president about this issue. Officials from the Justice Department, where this type of issue lands, say they are more than willing to meet with the group. There is a new poll out from the organization Higher Heights on the thoughts of Black women during this election cycle. Glynda Carr, the co-founder of Higher Heights, says the poll shows that Black women are politically exhausted, but are still a reliable voting bloc that believes in the power of their vote.
We've heard time and time again that Black women don't hear from their elected leaders. We believe in 365-day-a-year engagement. And I think the poll speaking to them feeling that they feel taken for granted is you will knock on our doors when you need our votes. But in fact, democracy doesn't begin in on election day. And we want to be governing partners. And so there is work to be done. Our candidates vying for our votes need to have a strategy to talk to us about the issues we care about, to hear our concerns, if you are looking for us to not only organize ourselves to the polls, but frankly, organizing our communities to the polls.
The poll surveyed 825 Black women voters. This poll is one of a series of projects Higher Heights has in the works. And we say goodbye to a giant in politics. HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge, who is leaving her post after 3 years. Fudge is a former president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and a former member of Congress. She took over the Department of Housing and Urban Development at a time when the agency needed to hire more than 1,000 people thanks to drastic cuts during the Trump administration. I spoke to the outgoing secretary recently about her departure from the Biden administration.
But so many people have a real hard time talking about poverty, talking about people in need. People want to ignore them, but they are not invisible. So we wanted to see them and we want them to know we see them. And so we've changed an awful lot, people, truly. We have turned what I call this big ocean liner at least a quarter turn so that the person that follows me won't have to start where I started. Now we have an agency that is clicking on all cylinders. People feel good about where they work. People do their work and they care about the people we serve. That is all I ask of anyone. To do as much as I am willing to do. And I'm willing to do an awful lot.
Fudge says she's going home to take care of her family.
I have given everything I have. I know I'm getting a little emotional about it, but I just believe that if you get to these places, April, and you can't make them better, and you can't do for other people the work that needs to be done, you shouldn't be here. And I believe that we have done an awful lot. And I leave with my head high. I leave knowing that I lead a group of people who can run this agency and make it continue to do its work, that believe in the mission of this agency. But it's time for me to go home and take care of my own family now. And I am happy to be able to do that. It is my time.
Farewell, Secretary Fudge. Job well done. And that's it for another edition of The Hill with April Ryan. Tune in next time right here for more news and information for us and about us. Until next time, peace.